If there are no more questions, then I suggest we head into the next presentation, which is going to be Maria Airola from VTT. And as you can see, she's going to be giving us a presentation on public acceptance on how to get the communities on board. Okay, I'm really happy to be here. Okay, I have to be here so I'm really happy to be here with you today, and I'm going and to share the insights, practical insights and learnings from the public acceptance work and how to get local communities on board here. So my name is Merja Airola. I work as a senior scientist at VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And my background here is about behavioral and organizational sciences, safety culture, and also these recent years, this stakeholder engagement activities. So this is my perspective to these topics now. So I'm no engineer here. But I didn't do this work alone, of course not. And I want to first sort of acknowledge that with this presentation, especially there is a lot of work by my colleague, Nina Vesberg, who is hopefully online. And also we have here our partner, Ljubor Zezula from UTV, Czech Republic. And of course, feel free to ask especially him also then more about these cases here. And which button should I push now? Let's see. This is exciting. Oh, which arrow? I tried both. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's go back. Oh, no, it's working. So I should have pushed harder. So, okay, what are these? So there's a lot of high level talk about these issues, and that's needed, of course, as well. But here are sort of the learnings what we are going to share you. So there are 3 events. So 2 in Finland. So use of district heating, nuclear for district heating, a resident event there. And then also, like also Jessica addressed, like if the half of the population are women, and, you know, we should also take these into account when we address new technologies and SMRs. And then 1 citizen event organized in Czech Republic in city of Pilsen. Okay. But okay, this stakeholder, first, before we go to these events, I would like to share some sort of ideas here about this kind of, that this citizen engagement, I guess it doesn't happen in this kind of vacuum, that it's sort of objective. Let's get the public and local communities abroad. But as we were also here discussing, it was a good question, where is the regulator here? And then what are the other stakeholders who should be involved in this kind of discussion? So for example, this broad definition of stakeholders are that it's any group or individual who is or feels affected even by this project, SMR's project that we are so eager to have. But perhaps we could stop and pause here for a while. I know there's a lot of people also, hopefully, or some people online, and this question about the regulator and what kind of stakeholders are here present here in this event, and also people online. So if you play with me a little, so which one of you are part of the scientific communities, universities, academia? If you can push this kind of button also online if you are awake still, so please, if you can put the like button. So how many, if you can see? So your role, or I'm a part of that. So our role is provide fact-based information basically in this way. Sort of about the utilities, energy companies, vendors, end users. So some also here, but nobody online at the moment. So, or they cannot be shown in this slide set. And then, of course, the cheeky question would be, hey, here now to ask, hey, which one of you are residents living in somewhere place, some city, some area? So, but I'm not going to ask that. But in fact, I'm more interested at this point to ask, which one of you live in a community, city, or region that has existing nuclear power plants? A couple of hands. Then if I add here also this, that do you live in the region that they are planned these kind of SMRs or other big NPPs? There's a couple of more hands raising, or there are rumors or something that they might have been coming. So I can't see that many hands raised here. And basically this is here the points. These events, what I'm going to present, we have selected the key stakeholders involved in this here. And also these events are addressed to the people that are actually facing in their homes and in their neighborhoods this idea that the SMRs are considered. And then the other very fussy and favorite word is the engagement part here. And just some remarks about this topic as well. So we usually tend to sort of think that, okay, it's enough that we bring a lot of information. The scientists especially also love it. So we just bring the facts and we keep pushing and pushing and pushing and persuading people about these topics. I think the industry might like this approach as well, but in a way that's just the foundation. Actually, it's critical, but it's just the foundation of this engagement activity, which in fact means that you have to have some sort of an interaction between sort of the citizens or local communities and then these kind of different stakeholder groups. So here in this tandem project, we had a specific sort of attention that we have information, people with knowledge, and also that they can discuss about these uncertainties. I really like the question of the security. It comes there. Nobody asked about the nuclear waste yet, but that will come too. So keep open-minded with the questions, even if you don't have the answers. Listen to the questions and take notes. This is the issue we have to take seriously anyway. And then as important that is that you have the facts right and uncertainties right, you need to actually plan these events in a way that there is some form of interaction. And I hope end of this presentation, it's not just, that it's for them, you there that learn, but it's also that all these stakeholders that are involved can also learn and improve their ways of working and communicating. All right. So I guess you have heard that there is some progress going on in Finland, and yes, you are right. So this first event I'm going to present you, and you can see on the slide, is that there is this city of Kuopio is basically middle of Helsinki, not that big city, but city anyway. So there is a situation that the local energy company that is owned by the city is planning to sort of consider or investigating the possibility to use SMR for uses of their district heating. And this is a real thing. They have actual plan and timetable you can see or schedule on the right. So this is now at this moment, while I'm talking about it, they have already selected 2 possible locations and they are in the process of environmental impact assessment. So this event happened before that. And you may ask, why on earth would anybody do this for real? Well, we tend to take these carbon neutrality targets very seriously in Finland because the alternatives are not so very great either. We don't want to perhaps cut the woods and dry the swamps, and the renewables at this phase at least of development are not enough. And then the other more practical issue for this utility is that their conventional heat production plant is sort of ending its life cycle. So they need to anyway do something. So this is sort of the background of the scene. And this happened last year. So we contacted the city of Kuopio and asked, what do you think of this initiative? So would it be now a good time to organize this kind of first open event for the public? And then they of course said, yes, of course, it's a great, thanks for calling, yes. And then we also called to the local energy company CEO, and he was as delighted about this initiative in a way. And this is sort of how it happened. So we started to have these kind of very short online co-designing events, how to make this happen. And we realized very soon that here we need also, there was the point of regulator, so we need our safety and radiation and nuclear safety regulator involved as well, not as organizer, but invite them also, provide their perspective to this, and of course the vendor, so that what are the actual, they know the best, their sort of technology. And then surprisingly, this was totally open event in Kuopio. There was no registration at all in the city hall, and we agreed also in this case that the city is the organizer that calls and markets first the event, and it's in their premises because cities are impartial parties here as well, and we don't have, BTT doesn't have that big facilities in Kuopio. We have those, but not so big. So we had gathered about 60, 70 people of different ages and genders in general to that event. And then what was the outcome of this co-design or co-organization? So that because these people in Kuopio and these municipalities and energy companies really know best, you know, what's happening in their cities. We who don't live there don't know that well. So they have an understanding what works in their, you know, region and area the best way. So that was one thing that affected this outcome. And then we, as VTT, we have a lot of technical competencies, but also competencies related to that. We know what typically residents or citizen wants to know. So we have here, of course, the who is making this initiative is the utility. So of course it comes first. So they have to make transparently tell why they are considering this. And then the vendor tells about the tech. Okay, what do they, how would they solve this problem? And then the waste issue, should never forget it. It always raises. Now the security raises also all the time, and that's a good reason that it does, but this waste should not be also never sort of excluded for this discussion. As Jessica also said, that you provide independent experts to provide their know-how about what do we know and also about what do we yet not know. And then, of course, the regulator is extremely important, and they don't come to market any technologies, but they have a role, as said earlier, they have a role also to communicate the risks about these technologies and also how do they do the oversight work if and when these technologies sort of go to the siting phase and throughout the whole life cycle. And then as important, the city urban planners need to tell, okay, how does this process look like now and how can you people attend? And then this was sort of the informing part mainly. Okay, so this is very huge. You can select any kind of presentations and just, you know, tell it like I'm doing now. But then there was this part which was very particular in Finland, you know, because we love coffee, really, we love it. And we love coffee breaks. So here I think it was co-designed in this kind of short meetings that, hey, let's break the pattern. Let's have just a huge, long coffee break there. So short presentation, and we had a 1 hour and a half coffee break in the afternoon. And we had these stands of these 5 different stakeholder groups, so VTT, regulator, energy company, vendor, they were separated. And then people could just take a cup of coffee and a cracker and go talk whatever they wanted. And it was really a lively, constructive event, you know, because people could actually ask the questions directly from these people who should know about the things. And to sum up, all these presenters from these stands came to tell everybody, okay, these were the questions, ideas, things that were raised in this event. And that was it, sort of. And then about the learnings. You can see here some numbers. I'm not so interested myself about it, but I'm interested that people felt that this was really, really good event. And you can see here the conditions here and also what are the information needs. But I guess we all basically know what people want to know about unknown technologies. What's the cost, the safety, waste, environmental impact? And then there are a lot of conditions. I don't think any of you would accept to your backyard a facility of SMR if it would not be safe and reliable. So I guess we can relate to these conditions, us all in a way. But as an organizational scientist, I want to sort of still emphasize that the main thing here is, of course, the resident got this kind of first glimpse of what these technologies would be in this kind of open event, but they need much, much more information in different forms and so forth. But the key here is that these stakeholder organizations themselves took the notes, learned and used that knowledge to do better next time or do better the next 10, 20 years. And then the concrete impact of the event was, so you can think this also money-wise in a way. So based on this event, because of the feedback, the local energy company decided to rule out one possible location. So basically they saved money that they didn't have to do this kind of investigation. So please don't consider it just one-way street, but also, the other way around. And of course, learnings. There was tensions in the beginning of presentation, and we did not attract really a wider audience, women, and for example, younger generation that well. And then women's event. So we all know by the surveys, there are surveys from LUT University, Finland, that women, and I guess in general knowledge as well, with the more common surveys, that women tend to oppose more use of SMRs. We know this for a fact. So we thought that, okay, with this tandem approach, we could do something different. It's some sort of impact also to this sort of challenge that we have in society. So we decided to organize this kind of all-female event because, as we know, we have loads of very highly skilled women also in the industry. And we called to the National Council of Women's Organization that is really taking into this kind of women's rights and these things in their agenda and ask them, hey, have you heard there is a plans in Helsinki for district heating as well, use of nuclear in district heating as well? They haven't heard, but they became interested. Of course, we want to sort of learn more about this topic. So the similar way we have this kind of a short, very effective online meetings with them to discover what are the things that would be meaningful for their members. And as you can see here, their member organization sort of catch up 400,000 women in general. So they are quite a good organization to sort of provide information. And also we invited the women in nuclear here, so this kind of a expertise group here to jointly plan these events together. So, and then the other thing was also that we thought that, okay, we could also have this event in the facilities in VTT that has quite recently new nuclear safety building and facilities. So that would be also interesting place perhaps to visit if you are not familiar with the nuclear at all. And we had this seminar room full that we planned, and then we had academic ladies with also bit diverse backgrounds attended. And what was the result? So how this co-creation looked like. And here we put on special emphasis that we have very psychologically safe sort of facilitation and the groups that everybody would feel that their questions are respected and the situation is hey, I'm here talking the truth and you should be there quiet and listen. So this was totally different approach we tried to create here. And we have these kind of topics. One was for very high level. We have a grand old lady working in TEM and all our organization telling about, hey, what's the future look like, And then also Stuk again involved, very important in Finland. And also we had from the nuclear facility Fortum's presentation how they see this kind of a use of nuclear. And waste, always the waste. And there was a notion here that from Jessica, that these SMR, what does it mean? This is sort of a black box, like, what is it? So we got this the vendor's miniature there for that coffee break. So everybody could see actually what does it look like when you have a human figure in the front next to it. And also we had an expert telling all the questions they wanted to know about this technology. So that was one hint to make this black box also more visible. And I don't know if you heard now, Steady Energy and Helen are sort of cooperating, and they will build a pilot plant in city of Helsinki to also have this kind of a purpose to make it more understandable and visible in the city scene. And then here we didn't have like this kind of exhaustive presentation, but we had a little breaks all the time to have this kind of short discussions. All right, and then what did we learn about it? So we learned that we actually gathered people there that had neutral or positive attitude towards use of nuclear. And then they liked the situation or this kind of event very well. And the atmosphere was wonderful. It was really nice to have this kind of joint inquiry there. There was nobody with the straight answers of these uncertainties, but it was also the question that we raise important questions and considerations. And here you can also see the terrorism. This is very critical issue also in Finland, and I guess the vendor is planning to put it underground, and then we have to investigate, okay, what does that mean for safety and security and so forth. And we know also about this for our other project that, of course, emergency fire brigades, these defense forces need to be in the siting process. Their sort of security consideration must, of course, be taken into account, but not in this research project we are having here. So we couldn't attract still the women that are so very opposing nuclear. So this is what we need to also bear in mind, that we need new strategies for this. And then we go to this tech event. So there was also a fully open event and workshop for citizens in the Czech Republic in Pilsen, and it was organized within the nuclear days. And it was also co-designed and organized with these different kind of stakeholders: university, academy, research organizations, city municipalities, energy companies, and power industries, and so forth. And there was also about 60 people discussing over these matters together. And what was the outcome? So you can see here 7 selected presentation with selected topics. And if you take a look of these titles here, so there's a question: do we need a new law, nuclear law about it? What does the utility of the role of SMRs? There's even this kind of facts and myths in light of energy transition. And then this kind of SMR salvation or destruction of the nuclear energy. Here you can see what is the attitude and the vigilance of this sort of organizing this kind of events. You are not saying SMRs are saving the world, you need this and that, but this is also how to raise this kind of a way that you can actually start talking about and broadening your mind about these topics, not just telling that this is the truth, that one truth that what we are going to have here. And after this, you had also free discussion with the experts and audience. And here we were talking with Lyubor about this already now. So there is, in this context, there's a huge resource of expertise that are not anymore in the markets. I mean, these nuclear veterans that are enthusiastic to attend, and they can have a huge impact on their local areas when sort of talking about this kind of acceptance too. And I guess if you would be giving a presentation where you have like house full or many nuclear veterans, I think you would not say that, oh, this audience is so stupid, it doesn't understand what you're talking about. But on the other one, you would be perhaps eager to learn also from their long-standing experience, that we could perhaps also sort of avoid some mistake we might be doing. And then Here also this event was considered to be useful, and there was deep discussions, a bit different way deep, because there were so sort of experienced technically and business-wise experienced people. But here perhaps I would like to raise this issue of this public acceptance. Yeah, you know that in Finland and also in Czech Republic, this acceptance and trust is in a quite high level and awareness. But it also, it didn't happen like this, but it needed a lot of efforts from the beginning. So in a way, this is the message that please start already to do at least these kind of little steps with the actual local communities and go forward. And of course, these can be used to make the next seminar even greater. Now I will very briefly conclude. So the stakeholder engagement is not a tick in the box in the beginning of the project. It should start early, as you can see here, and it should last throughout the life cycle of this plant. And what I mean here about why is it strategic, and it should be strategic. I have seen many slides that you have this kind of roadmaps, flow charts, timelines of how this siting technology development and that goes on, and there are milestones and so forth. But where is the line there that takes this local acceptance, local engagement seriously, that it would have responsibilities, milestones, and achievements? So please consider adding this there, because if it's not in the strategy, it's not in the action plans, it doesn't exist, it's not important. And any of these events was not any like nuclear physics. It was not actually hard, but you need expertise in a way, and people who think a bit differently this and have this kind of capability to facilitate and think how humans work. So that's one hint. And then the final thing I want to here sort of address is this trust, which is everywhere. So I hear also a lot that, because they don't trust us, they don't listen to us. I tried to say like, please, this is the fact, and they are not listening. And that's really, really frustrating. I understand this. But if you once for all, it would be perhaps healthy to take a mirror on my face and look, hey, am I worth this trust? Is my organization worth this trust? Am I listening really? And then you can also consider, like, is our organization competent enough to deal with this nuclear? Are we responsive? Are we sincere? And perhaps if you say, perhaps I could do a bit better, start from there. And I guess this is all I want to say to you. Thank you. You are a great audience, and feel free to contact any of us, now or later. Hey.
Thank you very much, Melia. We have time for one question, so I don't know if anyone has a question for. I don't think we can hear people online. Perfect.
There's one question from Michael Futter from GRC on public engagement. Are there any insights whether what works in Finland is applicable in countries with different culture or mentality?
You are the experts of your own countries. I think every country has also social scientists or people who understand the nature of your countries. So take these insights, work with them, and I think we are still all humans, and we respect if somebody takes us seriously and listens.
Just a curiosity in case this was monitored in the different events. The people that was most opposing to the SMR, did you take note of which specific groups they were coming from, or you did not monitor that part?
This survey based that you need to have to answer that you need to have a survey and this kind of statistically valid answers. But we know from the surveys that I said that women are more opposed, and that's the statistically significant difference. So in this sense, I could say that one group is women, for example, for this.
Yeah, he was referring eventually to NGOs versus other specific groups eventually. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much once again, Merja.